You want healthy, glowing skin, but with all the products, trends, and conflicting advice, it's hard to know what actually works. I understand. I am Dr. Tina Meder, a former cardiologist and specialist in the skincare development and cosmetic safety expert. I've spent years studying the science of skin. Welcome to Meder Beauty podcast, where we uncover what really matters, break down the science, and give you real expert-backed skincare advice. Whether you're looking to achieve radiant, healthy skin, curious about anti-aging, or want to understand what's really in your product, you are in the right place. Rooted in science and the truth about what your skin actually needs, we'll have in-depth conversations with leading dermatologists, medical experts, and skincare brand founders to bring you the latest innovations, evidence-based insights, and industry secrets that truly make a difference. We are so happy you are here. So let's go. Let's discuss about alternative of retinols. There's so many common myths about it, and even people who know a lot about cosmetic active ingredients, they know so few about the possible alternative of retinols. It's like the best hidden secret of the industry, despite we have a lot of them right now. But still you can see some kind of funny information like hyaluronic acid. It is an alternative of retinol. It is not. And I will explain you what is the alternative of retinol and what cannot be compared to retinol. So after this episode, I hope you will recognize them and you will understand why we need them and how to use it. So to understand alternative of retinols, we should understand retinol itself. And the first thing to know about the retinols, and retinol, it is an essential fat-soluble vitamin, which we call vitamin A, and we cannot live without it because it plays such a crucial role in our body. And it presents in our body in a very natural way. Retinol and retinoic acid, which is precursor of retinol, is naturally circulating in our body. Why we need it so much? Because retinol helps us renew literally everything. Not the skin only, but all organs and tissues, which should be renewed. It is a role of vitamin A in our body. Speaking about the skin, retinol is very useful to our skin in many ways. It thickens the superficial layer of the skin, called the epidermis. It activates renewal of the skin, and it helps to proliferate and differentiate for skin cells located in the superficial layer of the skin. But also it helps to build collagen. So it boosts the collagen production and specific collagen production, which we call useful collagen. So collagen of first and third type. But also it suppresses the activity of enzymes destroying collagen. So it's working in both ways. Why it is so important for aged skin. And actually, it's one of the reasons why our skin loses elasticity, because we have less of retinol naturally circulating in our body. It's absolutely useful to us, and it seems such a great idea to use retinol for skin treatment in the skincare. And 50 years ago, in the 80s, when the retinol was discovered and incorporated into the skincare industry, it was a breakthrough. It was a revolution, especially because retinol is specifically good for skin damaged by the ultraviolet. And in the era of 80s, there have been a lot of people who see the tanning as the best way to present themselves, like beautiful and healthy people. Now we understand the damaging role of ultraviolet. 50 years ago, it wasn't so clear. And people just damaged their skin, and they discovered that their skin became sensitive, wrinkled, too brown, hyperkeratosed, and in the same time, the retinol-based skincare was introduced to clinics and to the first beauty salons. People started to use them and been very happy about it. Because, obviously, it is very efficient. But in the same time, it has a dark side. And the first of the dark side of retinol, then it is interacting with the ultraviolet itself. So it is not safe to use on the sunny days, not only because it makes your skin more sensitive, but also because ultraviolet activate and excites, how we call it, the excitement, the retinol molecules, transforming it to the free radicals. So retinol exposed to the ultraviolet, even for a few minutes, becomes a damaging substance and start to generate other free radicals in our body, multiplying and worsening the effect of ultraviolet itself. The most photoexcited form of retinol, it is a gentle and nice retinyl palmitate, which will be very much limited to use in the European Union this year, alongside with retinoic acid, retinol itself, and retinaldehyde, because it became clear it is too dangerous to use them uncontrollably. So this destabilization of retinol, it's probably the first and the most important problem in the formulation of skincare. That's why you should not use any retinol-based skincare during the day, no matter what. And actually, 10% of the retinol will oxidize on your skin after that, 4 hours after the application. Even if you protect your skin with sunscreen, even you use the antioxidant skincare, it is a minimal oxidation which can happen on your skin, and we can do nothing about it. There are a lot of experimenting about it, how to make retinol in the skincare formulation safer, and there are a few ways like adding vitamin E to vitamin A, because vitamin E is stabilizing, or using some transport particles, or using some nano particles based on lipids, or some kind of stabilizing agent. And actually, fun fact, the most famous retinol alternative called Bakuchiol is a retinol stabilizer. So the best way to use retinol, to use it together, combined with Bakuchiol, because it makes it safer. What is funny, because Bakuchiol is real alternative, which is very similar to retinol itself. So, speaking about retinol-based skincare, there are a few practical advices which I recommend to follow when you decide to use this retinol-based skincare. First of all, any kind of retinol-based product should be applied on the perfectly dry skin, so there is no way to layering retinol-based skincare with other products. Also, it is always good to use some antioxidant-based skincare, somehow combined with retinol, for example, moisturizer combined with antioxidant, enriched with antioxidant following the retinol-based product. And also, every kind of product you use with your retinol-based skincare should be based on the very stable lipids, kind of skin identical squalane, or vitamin E, or some kind of specific linoleic fat acid. And you should not use organic oils alongside of retinols, because they're destabilizing retinol and destabilizing themselves in the same time. And obviously, you should use a sunscreen with SPF 50+, so maximal sun protection against the sun at any season, despite the sun intensity can be quite low. So as you can see, retinol is not really comfortable in using, despite it being efficient and despite get this perfect scientific base. We understand that there are a lot of limitations of using retinol. There's photosensitization, there's different kind of rules you should follow, but also you should know that retinol can be toxic, because vitamin A, it is great for our body, but it should not be overdosed. And that's why retinol-based skincare and any kind of intake of vitamin A or retinol-based medication is strictly forbidden for pregnant women and breastfeeding women, especially for pregnant women, because it can be teratogenic, so it can damage the baby, it can damage the embryo. So, despite the efficiency of the retinol, apparently it's far from being ideal skincare solution. And it is far from being magic potions, like some people say it. Fortunately, in the last 10, 20 years, our cosmetic industry and a lot of amazing cosmetic chemists, they created a lot of retinol alternative solutions. Why we need it? Apparently, we need it because retinol has side effects. It can be irritating for the skin, it makes your skin more photosensitive, it can create this even retinol-related dermatitis in the skin, and can provoke the manifestation of some dermatosis and simply makes your skin feel very uncomfortable. Tightened, red, sensitive, constantly flaking, and even painful. So if we can avoid these potential side effects, but in the same time keep the efficiency of retinol, it would be great. And that we should not care about this limitation of retinol because we can easily replace it. But what we have as a retinol alternative, obviously hyaluronic acid, it is not a retinol alternative in any way. And niacinamide or resveratrol itself. Last time I tried to ask ChatGPT about the retinol alternative, and ChatGPT, you know how kind and friendly it is, and sometimes it just brings you some absolute rubbish, and it came to me with a solution like, best alternative to retinol will be niacinamide or resveratrol. And they are very efficient ingredients, but we cannot call them alternative to retinol because it doesn't address skin cells in the same way. That doesn't have any kind of similar chemical structure. And it doesn't have exactly the same effects on cells. So what we have as a real alternative of retinol, first type of ingredients in this category, they are so-called better retinol or improved retinol. So it can be retinol which is released slower, so it acts gentler. It can be some precursor of retinol which can be transformed in your skin, but it's some kind of prolonged process, so it will not affect the skin renewal so much. You probably can have the collagen synthesis boost without skin irritation or photosensitization. So less of side effects, simply saying, and less of photosensitizing effect, but still potentially dangerous for pregnant women. Still potentially dangerous for people with very sensitive skin, people suffering from the dermatosis. So it is improved retinol, but not exactly the retinol alternative in the same sense which we can say about other group of ingredients, but it's still presented as a retinol alternative. First popular ingredient in this group called Granactive. It is an ether of all trans retinoic acid, which is retinoic acid, but gentler form. It still interacts with the same cells receptors as retinoic acid, but it's 10 times more stable than retinol. It's less irritating. It's less photosensitizing. Still photosensitizing, but like probably 5 or 7 times less. And it's used mostly for the acne therapy, especially for the acne therapy in people with sensitive skin. So still good ingredient, not good for pregnant women, but better than retinol. And people like it better, it's more comfortable. Another better form of retinol, it is Adapinoid, which is the name is oleoyl adipolate. So it's one of the ingredients very similar by the chemical structure. It is a precursor of active form of retinol. And it should not be used for the acne therapy because it doesn't interact properly with sebum glands. But it interacts with skin cells and the deeper layers, the cells which are able to produce collagen and elastin. So it is really good for mature skin because it boosts collagen synthesis and suppresses the activity of collagen-destroying enzymes. So another form less irritating because it's not interact with skins in the superficial layer so much as it interacts with skin in the deeper layer. So it's mostly for the skin structure and skin elasticity, and less for the skin texture and skin renewal. And it is really great form for the treatment of sun-damaged skin. One of the best, if you ask me. But once again, we have not enough of research about its safety for pregnant women, so it's still in the same group of retinol-like ingredients, improved retinol ingredients, which are forbidden to use in the pregnancy period. And another form of improved retinol, the most interesting in my way, it is bacterial synthesized retinol called Halorubin. It's synthesized by archaea, which is pretty much fantastic. And it's kind of precursor of retinol, still carotenoids, but biotechnological. And it's a really protective ingredient, which is able to protect the skin from the ultraviolet damage. So it can be incorporated for the sun protection product and sun care lines. And it's combined with another form of retinol called Retinaturel, which is retinol synthesized by another bacteria combined with archaea mates. Carotenoids create this really interesting combination, which is great for mature and sun-damaged skin. It's really biotechnological, really beautiful solution. So I hope to see it's more in the retinol-based formulations these days. Both of them are solutions which I think can replace retinol very successfully, especially in the formulation for mature skin, and make it even more efficient, but much safer. Next types of retinol alternative ingredients, they are ingredients which have the same mechanism of action as retinol. Sometimes there are substances derived from plants which are chemically very similar to retinol, but they are gentler and they don't speed up the skin renewal. And most importantly, they are not potentially toxic. They don't have any systemic absorption risk, so they can be used during the pregnancy. So all this group, it's kind of joke by nature. It's retinol produced in nature in the improved form. So they can increase the genes expression, they can really protect the DNA of our cells, they can boost collagen production, but in the same time, most of them, they don't have any of side effects. So they are absolutely amazing. First of them, it is Bakuchiol. Another name of the Bakuchiol, actually, it's Copuchiol. It's a substance derived from the leaves of babchi tree. The active ingredient of these babchi tree substances called meroterpen, and it acts like a retinol but interacts only with skin cells in the deeper layers. So it's literally the collagen booster. It does not do anything else. We cannot use it for the oily skin, we don't use it for the acne treatment, but it is really great for mature skin. And in the same time, it helps skin to regenerate and stabilize the retinol if used together with it. And it is the most famous ingredient. No one understands why Bakuchiol. It is an only retinol alternative people heard of, because as you will see, there are dozens of them. But still, the most famous, somehow it's found the way to the people heart and especially to the media heart. But there are other ingredients, for example, Silyphos extract derived from the thistle extract, and it's very much similar to Bakuchiol, and exactly like Bakuchiol, boosts the synthesis of collagen and suppresses the synthesis of collagen-destroying enzymes. Doesn't have any side effects, so in another form, but less popular. I love Silyphos. It's really gentle and it's really friendly to all ingredients. It's microbiome friendly, so can be incorporated in all kind of modern, innovative formulations. Third ingredient which I like in this category, it's called Vit-A-Like, so vitamin A-like molecule. And this derived from the Mediterranean moss beans. Once again, plant-derived, but this one, it interacts more with the superficial layers of the skin, so with the cells of the epidermis. And this one, it helps to renew the skin, but less actively than retinol, so it doesn't provoke the skin irritation. It can be used even for the sensitive skin. Still not so good for young skin, because young skin has enough of retinol circulating itself. And so we should not speed up the skin renewal in the young age. But for the people in their later 30s, it is a great ingredient which speed up the skin renewal and can really improve the skin texture. And once again, no side effect. Another great ingredient, that's oligosaccharides derived from alfalfa plant called Medicago sativa, using the Latin name. And this one is boosting the collagen synthesis, like Silyphos and Bakuchiol, but in the same time, it interacts with the superficial layer of epidermis too. So it's even more retinol because it interacts the skin in deep layers and in the superficial layers in the same time. And also, it's a little bit like laser-like ingredients because it boosts the synthesis of heat shock protein. So it can be used alongside the laser resurfacing of the skin. And at the same time as they are oligosaccharides, they are good for the skin microbiome and they are moisturizing. So another one, ideal substances to replace the retinol. It's a relatively new ingredient called Nephoria. Nephoria is derived from lychee fruits or Nephelion lappaceum fruits. And it's another collagen booster. And what is good about this lychee-derived Nephoria ingredient, it stimulates the synthesis of collagen of first type, but also on third type. So it's generalized collagen boosting effect. It's really a rejuvenating effect for the skin. Also, it stimulates the elastin synthesis. And it's very much similar to retinol, except one thing: no side effect, no skin irritation, no photosensitization, and absolutely safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women. Another ingredient derived from the wild tobacco leaves, and actually it is peptide derived from the wild tobacco leaf called reniseed. It's a great ingredient which is biomimicking effect of some growth factors in the skin. And in the same time, it has the whole spectrum of collagen boosting property of retinol. And also it helps to minimize the pore size because being a peptides, it interacts easier with nervous system structures of the skin. So it interacts with retinol receptors, but also in some specific nervous receptors in the sebum glands and in the skin. So it can diminish pore size and stimulate the skin elasticity and boost the collagen synthesis. So it is really great ingredients to be incorporated for skincare products addressing mature skin with enlarged pores. It's a niche, but great ingredients for this niche. In Meder, one of my very favorite retinol alternative, which we are using from 2013, called Avocutin. It is a substance derived from the avocado and combined with a tocopherol. It is lipid-based ingredients, very gentle one, and it suppresses the activity of specific enzyme activating the sebum production by sebum glands. So once you start to use products with Avocutin, it can suppress the sebum production in your skin up to 30% in the first 2 weeks of use, which exactly the retinol-based effect. Products containing 1% of retinol, they do the same thing, but at the same time, when you're using retinol-based skincare for the oily skin, your skin first will be red, irritated, tightened and dried. And second, you will control your sebum production. Avocutin controls the sebum production, but doesn't affect your skin sensitivity at all. Even it makes it more comfortable because it's lipid-based, so it moisturizes skin, and it helps to make your skin smooth and calmer. It's really good as an anti-inflammatory ingredient, so it's ideal ingredients to use for all acne therapy formulation. And I can say we use it from 2013 in our Equiderm cream for oily skin and acne-prone skin. And this Equiderm oily skin moisturizer has 3 professional awards as the best oily skin moisturizer during these years. So it is great. It is loved by beauticians. It's loved by dermatologists. One of our very best-selling product for people with oily and acne-prone skin. Another great ingredient acting like retinoic acid, if avocutin is more similar to retinol, this ingredient called Seboclear. It's more similar to retinoic acid, more active form of retinol. Actually, it's probably the most active form of retinol. They are bioflavonoids derived from stem cells of macular plants. And these ingredients, it interacts with retinoic acid receptors in skin cells. It suppresses the synthesis of all anti-inflammatory enzymes. It suppresses the activity of the same enzyme, so it controls the sebum production, exactly like avocutin does. So suppresses the sebum production up to 30% in the first 2 weeks of use. But in the same time, it restores the healthy shape of skin cells in sebum glands and in the superficial layer of the skin. So it protects the skin from scars formation. So it is a great ingredient to treat acne and to prevent scarring following the acne. And it helps to treat acne scars as well. So one of the best ingredients you can use. And once again, no side effects at all, very comfortable, and improves the water holding capacity of the skin. And we use it in our EUSEP active serum, and it works great, especially for severe forms of acne. So we have great results, and a lot of dermatologists, they simply love it and recommend it to use for the patients, even if they are using some kind of medication-based acne treatment. New generation of carotenoids derived from plants, it is retinoids, and still it is a retinol-like ingredient with very similar mechanism of action. And actually it's almost the same family, but the main part of this ingredient, they are oligosaccharides, so that's very much microbiome friendly. So it mimics all effects of retinoic acid without side effects. And it can be used for acne treatments, it can be used for age-related changes of the skin, and it can prevent the acne scars forming. Why I still prefer Seboclear, this stem cells culture from macular plants? Because retinoid, it's so similar chemically to the retinols, and being a cosmetic safety expert, I still have my doubts about this interaction with metabolism of vitamin A in the body and potential safety, especially for pregnant women. I know that my fears are probably based on some kind of bias, but still I prefer Seboclear. And next type of retinol-like ingredient, the very interesting group which is not retinol itself, which is not similar to retinol, but it blocks the destruction of naturally circulating retinol in our skin, because our body produces retinol. When you eat the food rich in carotenoids, especially in beta-carotenes like carrot or pumpkin or sweet potato or apricots or mango, literally everything yellow and orange contains this precursor of the vitamin A. Your liver and your thin intestine transform this beta-carotene from the food to the active form of retinoic acid and retinol. It starts to circulate in our blood. It helps to renew the epithelium of intestine. It helps to renew the epithelium of our lungs and contributes to the renewal of every organ and tissue in our body, including the skin. With an age, we have less of circulating retinol in our body, so whole our body renews slower. And there's some reason for it, because with an age, we accumulate mutations, we accumulate toxins. So if our body will continue to renew as fast as it did in the childhood, it can lead potentially to the faster development of cancer or different kind of disease. But still speaking about the skin, if our skin will renew a little bit faster, it will be good for its health and its appearance. So the most important thing is do not block this retinol destruction in our body, do not get the systemic effect. But we have this family of ingredients which slow down or partially block the destruction of natural retinol circulating in our skin. And it increases the level of natural retinol without adding any retinol or retinol-like ingredients on the surface. First of them, it's a very interesting molecule derived from the mastic gum. If you've been in Greece, you probably tried mastica drink, and it's made from the same mastic gum, which is derived from the very aromatic gum of the specific tree growing only on the Greek island called Chios. And this Chios island tree produces mastica, which is really unique, and it helps to suppress the unique enzyme destroying retinol in our skin. It increases the activity and it decreases the level of natural retinoic acid on our skin. So we have all effect of retinoic acid without side effect, without systemic absorption. It is a very new ingredient, but I am really curious to see it more in the formulation on the market. Another ingredient called HT003, a kind of magic name, and it's biotechnologically designed specific molecules which block specific retinoic acid destroying receptors in cells. So once again, same story, different substances. But also this ingredient suppresses the sebum synthesis in the skin, and it is very much anti-inflammatory. So potentially it can be the great acne treatment, especially for young people, because the level of natural retinoic acid in the young people's skin is high. And if we can partially block or slow down the destruction of this retinoic acid, in the same time providing anti-inflammatory action, it will be great anti-acne therapy treatment. And probably there are maybe about a dozen other alternatives to retinol, which are very new, and I am still observing how they act, but I see them as very useful molecules, and I'm happy to see that retinol-like ingredients, they become a trend, especially amongst the skincare professionals, skincare practitioners, because if we can have the same effect like retinol does for our skin, but we can avoid side effects and potential danger of retinol, it will be great. Because yes, retinol was a breakthrough more than 50 years ago when it came on the market. But at the same time, in 80s, there have been about 400 ingredients created for cosmetic use by international nomenclature of cosmetic ingredients. Now we have more than 30,000 of them. So we are not obliged to use aggressive ingredients. We are not obliged to continue using ingredients which have the side effects, which brings us pain and the downtime, which brings some mandatory limitation in our life, like retinol-based ingredients. You should be protected from the sun. You should avoid being outdoor for some prolonged period of time when you're using retinol. And I don't see skincare as a source of limitation in our life. I think that skincare should be adapted to our lifestyle, not our lifestyle should be adapted to the skincare. So, retinol alternative, it's one of the very positive direction in the development of the cosmetic industry. It's one of the signs of the progress. So let's see how better our life can be with these new generations of cosmetic ingredients. Thank you for joining us today on the Meder Beauty podcast. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an expert skincare tip. Have a question or topic you'd like for me to cover? Send me a message at podcast@mederbeauty.com and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you can visit mederbeauty.com and discover Meder Skincare, which I created. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd love if you left a review. It helps others find the podcast and keeps us growing. Until next time, stay healthy, stay glowing, and take care of your skin.